Human emotions are rarely simple or singular, and love is perhaps the most intricate of them all. When a man is deeply in love, his feelings are not confined to the conscious mind alone. They are interwoven with layers of memory, past experiences, fears, and hopes that shape his perception and behavior. To the outside observer, his affection may seem clear, even overwhelming at times, yet beneath the surface lies a subtle complexity. This complexity is not a sign of weakness or insincerity, but a reflection of the human psyche's richness. The mind does not always operate in straight lines. It moves in patterns, echoes, and shadows, where love and doubt, courage and fear, hope and hesitation coexist. Understanding this is crucial because it allows one to see beyond actions and words into the hidden currents that shape them. In such a light, love becomes a mirror, not only of the beloved but also of the lover's inner world, revealing both the visible and the concealed aspects of the self. Within this context, it is important to recognize that love carries projections. The man who loves may project his ideals, desires, or unresolved wounds onto the object of his affection, sometimes creating an illusion of simplicity where there is none. This does not negate the authenticity of his feelings. Rather, it highlights the intertwined nature of conscious intention and unconscious influence. Each gesture of care, every word spoken in tenderness, is a dialogue not just with the other person, but with the deeper parts of his own psyche. When complications arise, it is often because these unconscious elements create tension between what is felt and what is expressed. A pause, a moment of hesitation, or an apparent contradiction in behavior may be misunderstood unless one appreciates that these are signs of inner negotiation, a negotiation between longing and fear, vulnerability and self-preservation. Observing love in this way transforms confusion into insight, revealing the depth and sincerity that might otherwise be overlooked. Furthermore, the interplay between conscious desire and unconscious resistance can manifest in various ways. A man may wish to express his devotion fully, yet feel constrained by fear of rejection, past trauma, or societal expectations. These inner conflicts can make the simplest acts of love appear complicated. It is not uncommon for one who observes from the outside to feel perplexed, questioning whether the love is real or wavering. However, understanding that love is not merely an external display, but a reflection of inner alignment and misalignment helps to contextualize this complexity. True affection often requires patience and attentiveness, a willingness to engage with the unseen dimensions of the psyche. By acknowledging these layers, one begins to see that love is not a linear path, but a journey into the depth of human consciousness, where every emotion is meaningful and every hesitation contains a lesson about courage, trust, and the essence of connection. Love is rarely a simple reflection of conscious desire. It is often entangled with projection, the unconscious tendency to see parts of oneself in another. When a man is deeply in love, he may not only be drawn to the other person for who they are, but also because they embody aspects of his own psyche that he admires, longs for, or has yet to integrate. This projection can create a profound connection, as if two souls recognize familiar echoes within each other, yet it also introduces complexity. The love that appears intense and unwavering may simultaneously carry traces of unresolved inner dynamics, unacknowledged fears, past disappointments, or idealized visions that the man holds unconsciously. To witness his affection is to witness a dialogue not only with the external world but also with the hidden dimensions of his mind, where longing and reflection coexist. Understanding these projections does not diminish the authenticity of his love. Rather, it offers a richer perspective on why love can feel both compelling and elusive at the same time, revealing the subtle layers that shape his experience and the relational dynamics he navigates. The unconscious elements influencing love often manifest through behavior that can seem contradictory or confusing. A man may express devotion through careful attention and tender gestures, yet withdraw at moments, creating an impression of inconsistency. These patterns are not arbitrary. They are the visible expressions of inner processes negotiating between desire and self-protection, hope and anxiety. Such complexity invites careful observation and empathy rather than judgment, as it reflects the natural struggle of integrating conscious affection with unconscious impulses. By attuning to these subtleties, one begins to see love as a multi-dimensional experience, where every hesitation or contradiction carries meaning. What might be perceived as complication is, in truth, a reflection of the psyche's depth, a negotiation between authenticity and vulnerability, between what is felt internally and what is safely expressed externally. Love, therefore, is never simply an act, but a continuous interplay between inner landscapes and outer reality. Recognizing projection in love also illuminates the transformative potential of relational experience. Through the beloved, the man encounters parts of himself that are otherwise hidden or underdeveloped, and his love becomes a catalyst for self-awareness and growth. This process may create moments of tension, confusion, or apparent contradiction, yet these are essential elements of psychological development. The more deeply one observes the subtle dynamics at play, the more one appreciates that love is not solely about desire or companionship, but also about encountering the shadow, the unspoken, and the unknown within oneself and another. In this way, the intensity of a man's devotion is inseparable from the complexity that accompanies it. Understanding and accepting this duality fosters empathy, patience, and insight, allowing both the lover and the beloved to navigate the depth of emotion with clarity and presence. Love, in its most profound form, is an ongoing dialogue between inner truth and relational expression, where every layer of complexity holds significance and every projection carries the potential for self-discovery. Inner conflict often lies at the heart of complexity in love. A man who is deeply in love may experience a profound tension between his conscious intentions and his unconscious fears, creating a dynamic that is both compelling and confusing. He may genuinely wish to express his affection fully, to be open and present, yet simultaneously feel the urge to protect himself from potential emotional pain or rejection. This tension is not a flaw, but a natural manifestation of the human psyche attempting to balance vulnerability with self-preservation. It arises from accumulated experiences, past disappointments, and ingrained patterns of thinking that subtly influence his behavior. Observing this complexity with patience allows one to recognize that hesitation or inconsistency in expression is often the product of an inner negotiation rather than a lack of sincerity. Love, in this sense, becomes a dialogue not only with another person, but also with the deeper layers of the self, where courage and fear, desire and restraint exist side by side, shaping the way affection is communicated and received. This inner conflict can manifest in ways that appear contradictory or puzzling. The man may alternate between closeness and distance, confidence and hesitation, or clarity and ambiguity, reflecting the oscillation between his conscious desire for intimacy and his unconscious apprehensions. Each pause, each withdrawn gesture is a signal of the complex interplay between longing and caution, revealing the hidden processes that influence his outward behavior. To approach this with judgment or impatience risks overlooking the depth and authenticity underlying his actions. Instead, understanding that love is rarely a straightforward path encourages empathy and attentiveness. By observing these patterns, one begins to appreciate that the seeming complications are expressions of a psyche working to reconcile opposing forces. These dynamics highlight the profound reality that affection is not merely an external act, but a lived experience of internal alignment and misalignment, where emotional truth often resides in the spaces between words and actions, in the quiet hesitation before a gesture of devotion. Acknowledging this inner conflict also invites a deeper understanding of human growth and relational development. Love becomes a mirror in which the man confronts his vulnerabilities, fears, and unresolved tensions, offering opportunities for both self-awareness and transformation. The complexity of his feelings is not a barrier, but a reflection of the natural process of integrating conscious intention with unconscious drives. This integration requires patience, reflection, and compassionate attention from both himself and the one he loves. By embracing the interplay of courage and fear, clarity and ambiguity, one gains insight into the multidimensional nature of human affection. Ultimately, the depth of a man's love is inseparable from the complications within it, and recognizing these inner struggles allows one to honor both the authenticity of his devotion and the profound psychological journey that accompanies the expression of deep, genuine emotion. Love is a transformative journey, one that challenges both the heart and the mind. A man who is deeply in love may genuinely care for another while simultaneously grappling with unresolved experiences, fears, or patterns from the past. His affection is real, yet its expression may appear uneven, ambiguous, or difficult to interpret. This unevenness does not diminish the sincerity of his feelings. Rather, it reflects the ongoing work of the psyche to integrate past experiences with present desires. Every act of tenderness, every gesture of care carries within it both conscious intent and unconscious influence, and understanding this duality allows one to perceive the depth of his devotion. Love, therefore, is not a static or predictable phenomenon. It is a dynamic process of mutual discovery, in which the challenges and contradictions inherent in emotional life are not obstacles to affection, but signals of the mind and heart working toward alignment. The transformative nature of love means that it does not merely reflect feelings, but also evokes personal growth. A man may encounter moments of hesitation, uncertainty, or tension as he seeks to reconcile his inner fears with his desire to connect. These moments are not signs of weakness, but rather opportunities for reflection and understanding. In the space between intention and expression, the depth of his love can be seen. It is a force that pushes against limitations, fears, and old patterns, asking him to confront the parts of himself that remain hidden or unacknowledged. Observing this process with attentiveness reveals that love is as much an inner journey as it is a shared experience. Each pause, each perceived contradiction, is part of a larger movement toward psychological integration, highlighting the profound reality that authentic love cannot exist in the absence of complexity, reflection, and courage. Furthermore, the interplay between devotion and inner struggle illustrates the subtle power of relational influence. Through loving and being loved, the man is challenged to engage with parts of himself he may have long avoided. Insecurities, unspoken desires, or habitual patterns of retreat. These internal dialogues, though invisible, shape the ways in which he expresses care and intimacy, creating a rich, multi-layered connection with the beloved. Recognizing this dynamic invites patience and empathy, encouraging one to view inconsistencies not as failures of love, but as expressions of psychological depth. Ultimately, the transformative quality of love is inseparable from its complexity. A man's deep devotion is intertwined with his personal evolution, and by observing, acknowledging, and honoring the intricate dance of courage, fear, clarity, and ambiguity, one comes to appreciate that love is a profound journey of both relational connection and inner discovery, capable of revealing truths that remain hidden until approached with awareness and compassion. The unconscious mind plays a subtle yet powerful role in the expression of love. A man who is deeply devoted may not always be aware of the full spectrum of forces guiding his actions. Beneath conscious intent lie impulses, fears, memories, and symbolic meanings that influence how he demonstrates affection. His gestures, words, or silences can carry hidden messages, reflections of unresolved inner experiences or unacknowledged desires. These manifestations may sometimes seem contradictory or puzzling to the observer, but they are expressions of a complex dialogue between conscious choice and unconscious influence. By attuning to these subtle cues, one can gain insight into the underlying motivations of his devotion, recognizing that love is not merely a sequence of visible actions, but a symbolic exchange between the inner and outer world, where each act, hesitation, or expression carries deeper psychological significance. The interaction between the conscious and unconscious in love often creates patterns that appear enigmatic. A man may express profound care yet suddenly retreat, or he may show openness in one moment and reserve in the next. Such behavior is rarely random. It reflects the ongoing process of negotiation between emotional truth and internal caution. Understanding these patterns requires patience and an appreciation of the depth inherent in human experience. Rather than interpreting inconsistency as a lack of commitment, it is more insightful to see it as the psyche's effort to reconcile longing with vulnerability, desire with self-preservation. In this sense, love becomes a complex dance of presence and absence, revelation and concealment, in which the unconscious mind subtly guides expression, inviting both the lover and the beloved to develop awareness and empathy for the unseen dynamics at play. Recognizing the role of the unconscious in love also highlights its transformative potential. Through the interplay of visible affection and hidden forces, the man is both revealing and confronting aspects of himself that are otherwise inaccessible. These hidden dimensions may evoke moments of tension, confusion, or hesitation, yet they also create opportunities for growth, self-reflection, and deeper relational understanding. Love, therefore, is not a simple exchange of emotions, but a journey into the depths of the psyche, where conscious intention interacts with unconscious influence to create a living, evolving bond. By observing the subtle, symbolic, and sometimes contradictory expressions of love, one gains the ability to approach the relationship with empathy, patience, and awareness, appreciating that every gesture, spoken or unspoken, is a meaningful expression of both devotion and psychological complexity. Ultimately, the depth of a man's love is inseparable from the hidden workings of his inner world, and true understanding requires sensitivity to both the seen and unseen aspects of his heart and mind. Emotional intensity and apparent confusion often coexist in love, reflecting the dynamic interplay between conscious desire and unconscious impulses. A man deeply in love may experience oscillations between closeness and distance, clarity and ambiguity, or bold expression and careful restraint. These contradictions are not signs of insincerity, but are natural manifestations of the psyche negotiating vulnerability, hope, and fear. Every hesitation, pause, or seemingly inconsistent action is an invitation to observe the underlying currents shaping his behavior. By appreciating this complexity, one begins to understand that love is not a simple or linear process, but a living, evolving experience. What may appear perplexing on the surface often carries profound meaning, revealing the tension between what the heart longs to express and what the mind feels safe to reveal, a tension that exists in all deeply felt human relationships. The oscillation between emotional clarity and ambiguity is a reflection of the inner life. where fear and desire, hope and caution interact continuously. A man's affection may be strong, yet he may still pull back at times, not out of doubt but out of a need to reconcile his feelings with past experiences, personal vulnerabilities, or internal conflicts. Observing these patterns without judgment allows one to see that the complexity itself is a form of authenticity. Love is not a static state, but a dynamic dialogue between inner truth and outer expression, and the contradictions inherent in this dialogue carry important psychological significance. The presence of ambiguity and hesitation often signals a mind deeply engaged with its own processes, striving to integrate intense emotions with the practicalities of life and the limitations imposed by experience, culture, or personal fears. Understanding these oscillations also fosters empathy and patience, essential qualities for any meaningful connection. By recognizing that love is shaped by both conscious intentions and unconscious currents, one gains insight into why affection may appear inconsistent or enigmatic. The contradictions are not obstacles, but rather reflections of a multidimensional experience, where each expression, withdrawal, or silent pause has its own significance. Love in this form becomes a space for mutual observation and reflection, inviting both the man and the beloved to engage with the full spectrum of emotional and psychological reality. By embracing the intensity, the contradictions, and the subtle messages embedded in behavior, one begins to see that the depth of a man's devotion is inseparable from its complexity, and that true connection is nurtured not through simplification, but through awareness, empathy, and the willingness to navigate the rich, sometimes contradictory terrain of the human heart. Compassion and understanding are essential when navigating the complexities of love. A man who is deeply devoted may demonstrate affection that is heartfelt yet complicated by internal conflicts, past experiences, or unconscious fears. Recognizing this allows one to approach him with patience rather than judgment, seeing beyond surface behaviors to the deeper emotional and psychological currents at play. Love is rarely simple. It requires empathy and attentiveness to the nuances that shape expression. By cultivating compassion, one creates a space in which both individuals can engage with the full depth of their emotions, acknowledging contradictions without labeling them as failures or shortcomings. The capacity to hold space for complexity fosters a relational environment where vulnerability is honored and mutual understanding is strengthened, allowing love to evolve in both authenticity and depth. This approach also encourages self-reflection, as understanding another's internal struggles often mirrors the observer's own unconscious patterns. A man's hesitation, inconsistency, or withdrawal is not merely a reflection of his inner conflict, but also an invitation for both parties to explore the dynamics that influence their connection. By observing and accepting these dynamics without immediate judgment or demand for resolution, one gains insight into the intricate dance of emotional and psychological forces that shape love. Compassion becomes a bridge between conscious perception and unconscious reality, allowing one to appreciate the depth of devotion that might otherwise be misinterpreted. Love, in this light, is not a static state of clarity, but an evolving dialogue between self-awareness, empathy, and relational understanding, where patience and attentiveness reveal the richness underlying every gesture, pause, and unspoken emotion. Finally, the cultivation of empathy and patience transforms the experience of complexity into an opportunity for growth. By acknowledging the multi-layered nature of a man's devotion, one learns to navigate love with sensitivity, honoring both expressed feelings and hidden dimensions. Each contradiction, hesitation, or enigmatic gesture carries meaning, offering insights into the interplay of conscious intention and unconscious influence. Through compassionate observation, love becomes a mutual journey of discovery, revealing not only the depths of the beloved's heart, but also the observer's capacity for understanding and emotional maturity. Recognizing that devotion is inseparable from its complexities allows one to approach the relationship with clarity, presence, and respect for the subtle forces shaping emotional experience. In this way, love emerges as a profound, transformative experience that unites depth of feeling with awareness, patience, and genuine empathy, reflecting the true richness of human connection. The essence of deep love lies in the delicate balance between longing and acceptance, intensity and restraint, clarity and mystery. A man who is profoundly devoted may experience a powerful pull toward the beloved while simultaneously confronting fears, insecurities, or unresolved inner conflicts. These tensions do not negate the authenticity of his feelings. Rather, they highlight the intricate interplay between the conscious desire to connect and the unconscious processes that shape behavior. Understanding this duality allows one to perceive love as both a lived experience and an inward journey, where each moment of hesitation, each pause, and each gesture carries symbolic significance. By acknowledging that love is not linear or predictable, one comes to appreciate the richness inherent in relational dynamics, seeing complexity not as a flaw, but as a natural expression of the depth of human emotion. The path of love is rarely straightforward, and this complexity is particularly evident when unconscious elements guide behavior alongside conscious intentions. A man's affection may be unwavering in feeling yet subtle or inconsistent in expression, reflecting the negotiation between internal longing and external circumstance, between vulnerability and self-protection. Observing these dynamics with awareness fosters empathy, allowing one to honor the sincerity of devotion even when it appears complicated. The mysterious or enigmatic aspects of love often contain profound psychological truths, revealing patterns of projection, shadowed fears, or deeply held aspirations. By embracing the interplay of certainty and uncertainty, clarity and ambiguity, one learns to approach love with both discernment and compassion, recognizing that the most profound connections are rarely simple, but are instead enriched by layers of depth and subtle meaning. Ultimately, the transformative power of love emerges from this interplay of devotion and complexity. Each contradiction, each tension, and each unspoken nuance provides an opportunity to explore the psyche, to reflect on one's own emotional patterns, and to engage with the beloved at a level that transcends superficial expression. The intensity of a man's love is inseparable from the challenges it presents, and by accepting both aspects, the heartfelt devotion and the complications that accompany it, one can cultivate a deeper relational awareness. Love, in its most profound form, becomes a journey of mutual discovery, revealing truths about both individuals and fostering growth, empathy, and understanding. It teaches that devotion is not defined by simplicity, but by the capacity to navigate depth, mystery, and the evolving landscape of human connection, allowing both the lover and the beloved to experience a love that is enduring, nuanced, and transformative. Love, at its core, is a delicate tension between vulnerability and trust, an intricate interplay of surrender and self-preservation. A man who is deeply devoted may wish to offer his heart fully, yet his inner world contains layers of past experiences, fears, and unresolved conflicts that shape how he expresses that devotion. These hidden dimensions may create moments of hesitation, ambiguity, or retreat, which can appear confusing to the observer. Yet such moments are not contradictions of love. They are evidence of the human psyche striving to reconcile desire with caution. Each pause or silence can carry profound meaning, revealing the psychological work that accompanies the expression of deep affection. By attending to these subtle cues, one gains insight into the richness of devotion, understanding that love is not merely a visible exchange of emotion, but a complex dialogue between conscious intention and unconscious influence, where every gesture, hesitation, or unspoken thought reflects